Okay, sorry, my phone. I know you told me to switch it off. I'm sorry,
Who is it?
daughter.
Oh, better take it.
Kia ora, Mama. How are you?
Very good, thank you, darling. How are you? Welcome to Big Questions, Short Answers. I'm Sian.
And I'm Andy, Sian's husband, asking the big life questions.
And possibly adding a little bit of unsolicited advice.
Maybe. This podcast is brought to you by Sian's value-based online course. Visit sianjacquet.com to find out more. Today we're going to talk about some issues that basically stop people moving forward. And I know you deal with it a lot in your work, but it's about the stuff that, for whatever reason, people can't get past like a glass wall as to why they can't, form the relationship or get the job promotion or move forward in their lives. And I'm just sort of just want to explore that kind of idea because I know you help people through that. So I just want to understand that a little bit more. People find a block to move forward.
Okay, well, it's world according to Sian. It's not complicated. It's actually very simple. It's beliefs. It's what you choose to believe. And those beliefs have been layered on you from the moment you arrived. What family, what society, what part of the world, what opportunities, what everything.
Right.
From health, well-being, education, emotional security, roof over your head and food on the table. And then you layer how you were seen and how you were nurtured within that environment. And negative beliefs, you're looking at, stuff that has been layered and layered and layered over the years, like re-acing a cake. I'm not good enough. I can't manage this project. You can't give me that job. There's no way I can do that. Yeah. Oh my God, there's that promotion. I can't do that. I'm too young. I look at those people who were in that room and I don't see myself.
I mean, I've looked at like not so much now, but job applications, and I look at them and I think, my God, I can't do any of that.
Well, that's a slightly different thing to negative beliefs. I mean, that's a whole
just being crappy,
a whole different bag of rats. That's a different issue,
right? I'm
talking about. Well, okay, to use myself as an example, right? I'm 62 this year, right? And it was quite a few decades ago that I was in knee-length grey socks going to school.
Right.
Now, I even now have, he's beginning to smile as he's looking at me because he knows what I'm going to talk about. I have a negative core belief that I might just be stupid. Right. And I'm not really very clever.
Yeah.
And that any minute now, somebody's going to turn around and say, you're not allowed to do that because you're stupid.
Right. Because you get very upset if I touch that button sometimes, don't I? Even if I just say, oh, you're being dumb, you get very, very upset.
Do I?
Yeah. Okay. But
let's not shift the conversation to your inappropriate comments to me at any one time. Let's stay in the space of negative belief. Well,
yeah.
So I can use my brain and sit down with trusted and whatever people and through therapy, through you name it. I've done it all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And come to a conclusion, well, actually, Sian, there is a whole body of evidence that you're not stupid. That is a whole body of evidence that you've got a brain. Here's a whole body of evidence that you have contributed in a way that has made a significant difference.
Because I mean, I don't want to go through your CV, but extraordinary achievements.
I know you look at me and you're my cheerleader, but you're going off track. The point is that negative belief is so entrenched in me, I can still be ambushed by it. I can still be frightened. Yeah? I mean, the obvious place now is to share that, for the better part of a decade, I've been trying to write a book. But when you can't read and write and you think you're stupid, I can't tell you how frightening it is to do it. That is how powerful negative beliefs are. Yeah.
You are, a very good writer. And I know you don't mind me sharing because you've shared it that you're dyslexic and you have an extraordinary ability to write. I mean, your spelling might be a bit odd occasionally, but...
What I'm trying to clarify here is that we all have negative beliefs.
Right.
Yeah? well, I say we all, there are a handful of people who don't, but they fall into a very different category. They're incredibly powerful things.
Yeah.
And it's not a think about it, oh, I've rearranged the furniture in my mind. I don't believe that anymore. Right. Because many times in my life, I've thought, okay, just get rid of this monkey. This is nonsense. There's all the evidence. You've done the work. You've done, but it still comes to ambush you. So negative beliefs. You'll pick up when you're around people who have negative beliefs that they're pretty good at icing. That's the way I think of it in my head. People are icing their beliefs.
Right.
When they use a phrase, always, you always do this. This always happens. It doesn't sort. Yeah. Mm. That kind of glass half empty.
And I mean, you've been dealing with it for a long time. So are we just stuck with it? I mean, is that basically what you're saying?
Well, nobody lives some kind of ethereal, perfect life. We're not computer programmed, yeah?
Right.
And again, I would say that your negative beliefs, you do need to work on them if they are creating limited life experiences. That's basically the bottom line, isn't it? Yeah? Through adolescence, through certain stages in our lives, there's some core negative messaging that we all give ourselves, yeah? I'm not going to be able to look after this child. I've just become a parent. I'm going, I don't even know how to keep it alive, let alone into a whole and healthy human. Yeah, and I really believe that. I mean, it's, it's like a visceral fear, yeah? As an adolescent, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not gregarious enough. I'm not likable. I'm a nerd. I'm ugly. And
of course, it far worse than us when we were young. Social media is absolutely just levelling one on top of the other of all of this stuff.
Well, it's not rocket science to work out why we've got a mental health crisis, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's all based on bullshit. But yeah, negative beliefs, they can be very, very, very corrosive. Yes, they are sort of a fundamental, foundational part of how I would work with anybody. But equally, if after, third time around the merry-go-round and we're still having a conversation where that belief is entrenched and you can find the evidence of how it is affecting your life, you're dropping the stone into the water, that's the issue, that's the belief.
Right.
And the radiated lines of wave, the wave function that happens afterwards is radiating into your life and it's getting bigger and bigger. Then, there are times when I coach people and certainly suggest that you might need to go and speak to a psychologist or a therapist or an expert in going below the line into how that belief is affecting you. And of course, the Rolls Royce is trying to work out why you think you need to hold on to it.
Right. Because sometimes, I suppose, you might want to hold on to it because it gives you an excuse.
Yep.
Not talking about writing the book here, but it gives you an excuse as to why it's up at me. But it gives you an excuse as to why something isn't possible.
Yeah, but we all do it.
Yeah.
And let's not, stand on some mountain of greatness. We all do it.
Yeah.
Human beings are very, very good at lying to themselves. But if you're literally focusing on, the question, core beliefs.
Yeah.
The metaphor I use is, it's like wearing one of those trumping backpacks.
Right.
Those big ones.
Yeah.
And in it, you've got quite big rocks.
Yes.
I mean, they've been in a fire and they're burning hot.
Oh, shit.
Right.
Oh, God, yeah.
And if you've got a belief that isn't serving you well, it's like a hot rock that's radiating.
Right.
And you're carrying it around.
Right.
It can be very, very, very damaging. Equally, challenging a negative belief and doing the work,
right,
rearranging what your belief is and getting a more balanced view can possibly be one of the most empowering things we can do for ourselves. That's when you see somebody, and I love that moment when it's like, whoa, suddenly they're like you're watching them on a trampoline and they can go because they've let go of that belief. The must, I shoulds.
Yeah.
An obvious one, right? Which happens a lot. if I'm coaching somebody and it's to do with a relationship, personal relationship, marriage. I'm just thinking of one example now. You know, I sort of worked with a lady who was very courageous. You know, she shared that she had been physically abused. No question, she'd been emotionally abused, financially abused, manipulated.
Yeah.
Her children had been embroiled in some rather dark stuff. And yet, her belief was that when she got married, she made a commitment for life, and so therefore she won't go nowhere.
Oh, right.
That is how strong our beliefs are.
Wow.
Now, I'm not arguing the rights and wrongs of that faith. I'm not going down that trapdoor to that particular bag of rats.
Yeah.
But that is a perfect example of how your core beliefs, I must, I should.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is no other perspective. Whereas really what my job is as a coach, it doesn't matter what somebody's coming to be coached or speak to me about.
Yeah.
My job is to shuffle them around that paradigm, to have the courage to look at any situation from a different perspective.
And you could look at that negative belief and, it may affect you, but you start to distance yourself from it over time. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, actually not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that somebody can be physically, emotionally living a life of hell and still camp in that belief.
Right.
Because I don't get to not do it.
But I want to get rid of these negative beliefs.
Well, then what you need to do is shuffle around and try and find a different perspective.
Right.
So that particular person found themselves in a situation with somebody who was really quite high up in the church. And she had a private conversation with them and shared, not all of the detail, but enough for them to understand, because she asked the question, when is it okay to say a marriage is over?
Right.
What are the circumstances? You know, I stood there and said, till death us do part. And this person, very, very, very wise man, told her that that wasn't a marriage or the love that he believed God had created, and that her first commitment was to her own health, wealth, her own safety.
Right.
And that began the journey. It wasn't like a moment of, oh, that's it, I've got permission, I'm out of here.
Right.
It still took quite a long time to challenge that belief and move it forward. But what I can say, it was very much a happy upper ending, because as a human being, this person has grown exponentially into somebody that nobody would have believed the world would have seen and heard. But my point is that negative beliefs are the central part of an unhappy, sometimes seriously unhappy, human being. But it's not an easy thing to do. You got to, you hear me use that phrase a lot. You've got to do the work.
And it's recognising them, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's recognising it. That's the first step.
And in ABC terms, the first thing is to have the courage to stand still and stare down the problem, right? Or actually be honest about what it is and what it looks like and how it feels. Because I'm saying it now and it's tripping off my tongue, and I do this most days of my life, but me included, there are times when you find yourself needing to challenge a belief. It is so hard. And not just challenging it for yourself. If you think about it, different tribes, different families, different beliefs that are around you, all the people around you don't want you to change your mind.
Yeah. Well, we'll just wind up here now and leave it there. But it's the first step is recognising it.
You're asking me about negative beliefs, Andy. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm presuming you do. What are your negative beliefs?
Oh yeah, I mean, even it's an interesting thing. Even though I've held very senior positions and all the rest of it, I still don't value my expertise and all the rest of it. I don't know why. I have no idea. I challenge it every day.
Well, did you learn to do it? You see, again, when I don't understand it all, but I can observe it. And I think it's all learned behaviour. I mean, if you have parents and you're brought up in an environment where you learn in a healthy way to feed your ego, to own your space, to acknowledge success. Yeah. Whereas, I came from a family that, and I know you did, that it was like you don't crow about things. Yeah, you keep your mouth shut and your head down and you play nicely and you don't do anything like that. Yeah. So it just was not, you weren't taught how to do it. You didn't see that kind of eye confidence that isn't ucky and nasty. It was just, wow, that is a really confident together human being.
Yeah.
You just didn't see much of it. And it certainly wasn't role modelled.
Yeah. True. All right. We'll leave it there. And we'll see if we can improve ourselves on a daily basis. Join us next time on Big Questions, Short Answers with Sian Jacquet and me, Andy.
If you have any questions you want to ask, please send them via the website, sianjacquet.com.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with everyone you know.
We really do appreciate you sharing 15 minutes with us.
And if you want to do a bit more learning, go on to Sian's website, sianjacquet.com. There's a course on values to create the life you truly love. I did it, and it really does do what it says on the can.
See you next time.